Good morning. I feel like I know most of you from the various sessions we've had over the last few days. I'm Dave Murillo. I'm the Executive Director of the Western Car Wash Association. For those who I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, it's certainly my pleasure on behalf of WCA to welcome all of you to the Car Wash Show. And as we've mentioned, we are a proud provider of self-serve and IBA education in this show, and we'll be doing so more so as we launch our self-serve and MBA Council. We'll be having webinars later this year. One of the reasons you're being scanned is to make sure you're on that distribution list of all the upcoming webinars. We'll have at least a webinar in June, August, and October on different areas, including memberships in the self-serve IBA space, AI in the self-serve IBA space, and we'll have an event in October that's a peer-based webinar talking about operations in cold weather, including things like changes in chemistry of your product and managing changes in demand. You'll also see some of the folks on the trade show floor, including myself, and wearing some leis. And part of that is we are hosting this fall in Maui a leadership retreat that's got some really fantastic heavy-hitting industry folks talking about innovation, lessons in innovation from folks like Wow's Car Wash, Tommy's, OpSpot, Maui Brewing, and also have a lot of operator-to-operator connecting opportunities that we've planned. As anyone that's ever been to the Sheraton in Kaanapali knows that venue is amazingly beautiful, and the rates are just as amazing. So you'll certainly want to come from the learning and stay for the getaway. Before we get started, just a few quick reminders, just to please take a moment to silence your cell phones and any other electronic devices you have to minimize any distractions. We certainly encourage you, and this is a very actively audience participatory presentation, and I know our speakers today we're going to be asking a lot of questions of you to ask them. If you can, please just make sure that you speak loud enough so that they can hear you. And at the end of the session, we do ask you to take a moment to complete the session evaluation that's located in the mobile app. Your feedback is extremely important to make sure that we keep getting standing room only sessions like we've had over the last few days. So with that, I'm going to now introduce our speakers this morning: Optimizing Clean, Mastering Car Wash Chemistry for Superior Results and Customer Satisfaction. Miguel Rodriguez is the Director of Operations for QC Pacific, which is a leading company based in Southern California. With a lifelong immersion in the industry, Miguel's journey began in childhood, cultivating a deep understanding of every facet of the business. With over 20 years of hands-on experience, he has honed his expertise in all aspects of car wash operations, spanning from chemical formulations to strategic site layout planning. Miguel is also the sitting vice president of the Western Car Wash Association, and will be assuming the helm at some point here. And then, I know we don't like to talk about it too much, but he will at some point be assuming the helm leadership of the organization, and we thank him for his service. Ryan Molinelli is the VP of Sales for Qual Chem. Ryan has over 17 years of experience in the car wash industry. As he worked his way up in car washing, he was completing a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Akron. He has experience in wash operations, mechanical maintenance, chemical maintenance, customer service, and multi-site management. He moved from the washes to Qual Chem in 2016. Starting out in sales, he has developed key accounts, built and maintained relationships, and provided input across the divisions of the organization. So would you please help me welcome both of our speakers this morning.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you guys for coming on this beautiful Nashville morning. If I can get a show of hands, who's self-serve, who's in-base? So we'll start with the self-serve. In-base, both? All right, so we'll try to get all facets. What we want to do today is kind of give you a high-level view on chemistry and then really welcome questions. Everybody's here because they want to learn a little bit more about what they're doing, and every environment's a little different on washing soils and what we're looking at. So we want to make sure that you guys are asking us so we can answer for you guys. Ryan will give you the high-level information, and then I'll take it away from there. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Welcome again, and thank you guys. I've done a couple of these before, and this is the most well-attended room. It's pretty cool to see a lot of people coming to see us, so that's awesome. I'm excited about chemistry. Let me kind of see here. So just a few topics I want to kind of get started with to kind of tee things off today. You can take a look at the screen, but just talking about vehicle cleaning one-on-one. I talked to a lot of people on the show floor yesterday, and getting into those conversations, still people really don't understand what's going down if you take a microscope and is looking at the surface of the car when you start spraying detergents or different protectants and drying agents and things onto the vehicle. So I'm going to try to talk to you guys through the philosophical things that are happening at the very granular level, just to kind of give you guys a general understanding of when you guys are taking a look at the product you're giving your customers, you can kind of help maybe troubleshoot, diagnose some issues that may pop up, and just have a better general understanding of what's going on applying chemistry to vehicle surfaces. Then we're going to talk about, how we do things here. We both represent Qual Chem in one way or another, and our little unique system that we have on the cleaning side is a lot different than what you're going to see out there on the show floor. And I'll talk to you guys about some of the benefits and the differences and the philosophies that we have in approaching chemistry at car washing and working with you guys and kind of giving you guys the flexibility and customization to really make your product stand out and stand apart from your competition. Because there's more car washes. I mean, maybe not so much anymore, but they've been popping up all over the place the last few years. So, just a few little things that maybe you guys can take from here to make some changes and set yourself apart from all your new competition or maybe competition that's been there for quite a few years. And then, we'll hone in more on this, the self-serve and the touch-free cleaning. And, there's some different ideas and different mechanisms. And, self-serve has, you kind of want your customer to stay there as long as possible. Touch-free, you kind of want to get them out as quick as possible. So we'll talk about how we utilize chemistry and balance and kind of, again, the customization to make those things happen a little bit. And then we're going to kind of toss it out to you guys after we kind of give you guys a little general understanding of what we're talking about today. And, really hear your guys' pain points and try to answer those questions to the best of our ability. So, like I said, again, we appreciate you guys coming in, and I'm gonna dive right into Cleaning 101. Exciting. So, as you can see on the screen here, I'm going to kind of just read the definition. I can't really see the screen, and I don't know the definition by heart, so excuse me. So, a detergent is kind of defined in our industry as a water-soluble cleaning agent that combines impurities and dirt to make them easily removable. And it's a pretty standard definition, and I think everyone can understand that. But really, you're trying to take a solid, whether it's an inorganic soil or an organic soil, and you're trying to emulsify it, bring it into solution, or dissolve it into the solution. So whether it's high pressure or friction to take it off the surface. So the chemicals aren't actually really removing the products itself. They're just floating it on the surface. It's still on the surface. You still need some other factor of cleaning to take it off the surface. So that's really what a detergent does. And then you also see here's kind of a conventional build of what's in your detergent and when you buy one. So you have a fraction of that container is going to be water, right? It's a water-soluble solution. You have a fraction of that container that's a surfactant. If you haven't heard that term before, really the long term for the word surfactant is surface active agent. And we're going to be talking about both types. We typically focus on two types. There's numerous types of surfactants out there, but there's one type for cleaning, and there's also one type for protecting and drying and stuff. So the one type that we've kind of laid out for you visually, you'll see next to that that little ball there is what we call a micelle. So that's a surfactant under a microscope. That's one little piece of the chemical build of it. You have a head and you have a tail, and the head and the tail carry opposite charges on the cleaning side and also on the drying side. On this particular one, we have a positive charge head and a negative charge tail, and essentially this is going to create that circular sphere there because the heads want to stay with the heads and the tails want to stay with the tails, and inside gets encapsulated those dirt molecules. So they kind of work with their polar charges to kind of encapsulate your soils. Now on the other side, like I said, there's two types of surfactants. Just the opposite is happening when you talk about the surfactants that we use in drying agents and everything. With those products, we're trying to take some sort of coating and pull it to the car. Detergents, we're trying to pull things off the car. So just the opposite, pretty simple. And then also in the solution in the drum, we carry a lot of solvent. And then last but not least is the builders. So builders, it's a common terminology in the industry to talk about builders. Really what it means is what type of organic acid you're using, or, what type of salt or, high pH alkaline solution you're using in the detergent. So we all know there's really two types of detergents. You have a high pH detergent, a low pH detergent. So depending on what build of detergent you want to make this is, we could either have a high pH or low pH, depending on if you have acid in there or a high pH salt inside the container. And then some detergents, especially on the self-serve side, are going to carry some form of dye and fragrance in the container. So I wanted to put a visual up here, not to leave the self-serve guys out, because I think there's a really big push here for a lot of self-serves. We have great success here in the next couple of years. So yeah, color and fragrance are also added in that, and that's very important to the self-serve world because there's nobody on site typically at self-serves. You really got to stand out from the chemicals you use, and it's very important to have nice vibrant colors, very pleasant smells, and even though they're just a fraction of what goes on in these soaps, they become very important, especially on the self-serve side. So I hope you guys understand everything there on that slide, and kind of the mechanics of what we're going to be talking about. I'm going to kind of flip slides here, and we'll kind of get moving on to the next slide. So defining what these things mean, I already touched base a little bit on them. So just kind of giving you another visual. You have the surfactant up top, the solvent that I haven't really talked about too much. So I'm going to stop here and kind of give you guys. So solvents, we use them in solution, and they're very comparable to what we use with the surfactant side. But solvents are really targeting organic soil, so bird crap and road film and things that are very organically driven from the road grime area and what we typically see on cars. And the solvents are going to take those organic matters and they're going to blow it up into a billion little tinier pieces. And if you think about the solvents that in that, like the household cleaning items like mineral spirits, right, or paint thinner, those are the solvents that you hear about using in your household. You're thinning things out. So that's essentially the mechanism of what we're using solvents for inside the solution as well. And the reason I talk about solvents, because they're very important, especially in touch-free cleaning, is they're the ones that are doing a lot of the work to make the surfactants a lot more, they make them work a lot better, essentially, because the molecules of dirt are now much smaller. The surfactants aren't trying to lift a large molecule of dirt anymore off the surface. And then the builders, when I'm out there teaching my distributors or talking to my customers, we talk about acids and we talk about alkalinity, and there's one thing more I want you guys to kind of understand here. Visualize those high pH containers or the low pH containers in your back room as, big battery packs. I think we all know we've heard of an alkaline battery or battery acid, right? It's potential energy stored in a solution. So really the concentration level, this is really what's powering up your surfactants and powering up your solvents to really get the cleaning done. So hope this kind of gives you guys a little bit of generalized, better understanding of what you guys are buying to clean cars. Now, I'm going to start talking about what we do specifically and what makes us a little bit different. We produce chemicals all across the country. We blend all across the country here in the States, and then we do quite a bit in Europe as well. And we have a really unique niche that you're not going to see out the show floor too much. So I'm just going to touch on this a little bit. I'm not here to sell you guys on stuff, but just tell you the reasons why we do things and why we make things very flexible for car wash operators. And I'm going to take a quick sip of water real fast, but we'll switch slides. So you'll see there kind of same visual that we saw in the slides prior. What we do at Qual Chem, we separate the builders, your acid and your alkaline, and we take it out of the detergent solution in itself. So it gives us a few advantages, and it makes things, at first off, a little bit complex and may scare you away a little bit, but this is going to give you the flexibility to kind of control your cleaning power, independent from controlling your foam level and your surfactant level and your foaminess. So we use two chemicals to create one application in any detergent in any type of car wash. So in bays, self-serves, we take a base detergent that has your solvent and surfactant in it, and we'll boost it up, or we'll take some away. So we use the builders independently from that to give us, what we want at a car wash. Because I just met a guy over here from Maine, and I know there's a lot of people here from the West Coast as well. And cleaning in Maine is a lot different than cleaning in Southern California. I think Southern California is pretty easy to clean compared to Maine. So, I have a very awesome job, and I get to travel the country every week, and I get to deal with a lot of customers that have different challenges and pain points on the cleaning side, especially in that in-bay side. And having the flexibility to do what I do with this cleaning system makes my job very easy. You know, I don't even know what it would be like to try to sell like what we call one drum solutions, where it comes with everything in it. So I have the flexibility out there to kind of change things and really target in all the different variables, whether it's water quality, you know, the speed of the gantry on the in-bay automatic, or, you know, the dwell time. We can take those solutions and customize it to exactly fit your car wash just based on those two changes for one solution. We get to change the pH of the solution to make it fit your car wash exactly. And those three visuals down there, those drums, really those are just the brand name products of what we sell. So we sell a high pH solution, which is your alkaline solution. The low pH is your acid. And then we call it the Q Clean is kind of our base detergent. Oh, real quick, I forgot something. I hope I don't forget about the self-serve guys too. So we do the same thing with colors and fragrances as well. So the colors and fragrances a lot of times come independent from us, because just kind of throw an example, like if you're in Texas and you're a big Longhorn fan and you really want a deep orange solution during football season or something, right? You can keep that same foamy level that you have, and you don't have to add any cost to add color. So you're just going to add a little bit of dye to get that foam, or maybe you want it super colored out. You can really add a lot of dye to really, you know, customize at the self-serve side. So, and same thing goes with the fragrance, right? If you want it, I mean, if you want to smell your customer out of the bay, you know, do it. But you can really fine-tune that level of fragrance and kind of make everything work together for your particular site. So as I started talking here, the strength of fragrance, vibrancy of colors, the rinsability is huge in self-serve cleaning, right? So we really want to you want to keep your customer in the bay as long as possible, because your profit margins are at the highest when a customer is in the bay and they're trying to rinse off what they've already put on the car. So having that customization, you can make it very difficult to rinse off soap. Now, conversely, on the in-bay side, you know, the in-bay side is all about balance. You want your cars, the hardest challenge in in-bays is cleaning and drying. And if you don't have that balance on the high pH, low pH side, you're going to have a lot of challenges and difficulties if you can't find that balance. So just, you know, self-serve, completely separate philosophy. In-bays, you know, we can tackle the challenge on both sides if you actually have, you know, those dials to kind of fine-tune things. So circling back to in-bay automatics a little bit, you know, I talked about our system a little bit and how we use those 3-drum containers and kind of how we kind of use those to maximize and kind of utilize customized detergents on site. Just kind of wanted to list out a few of the advantages of having that, especially on the in-bay side, because a lot of people we talked to at the booth yesterday, you know, just major challenges cleaning at different types of year, like, you know, the spring and the fall, and we're kind of coming out of the tough time to clean in a lot of regions in the U.S. And this time of year, you know, it's starting to ease up a little bit, but, you know, having the ability to have that flexibility is huge, and just wanted to put some bullet points up there just to kind of show exactly, you know, how it works. And, you know, I don't want to get too in-depth with you guys. You know, we'll have some time at the show floor if you want to talk more in-depth here. But really, you know, it works with all machinery. You know, really, we come out there, we evaluate your setup. We really take everything into account, from water quality to temperature of the solution to, you know, what type of equipment you have, what the PSI is on the cleaning mechanism. And then, you know, we make our chemistry decisions based on what we see when we show up. So it's a little bit different. You're not just kind of taking a container in and it says, oh, I'm going to dilute it 100 to 1, throw it on, and then kind of just pray that it works and it balances out with what they tell you to put on step 2. So the same 3 products are working at all touch-free units for us all across the country. And, you know, we kind of teach you and utilize it when we're on site to kind of help you guys use the tools that we have, whether it's a pH meter or we're just visually looking at foam levels, to kind of find out what's really going to work in your area with your car wash and set yourself up, you know, away from your competition. So last thing here that I kind of want, and I didn't really touch on the first end, but the pH scale. You know, I talked about powering up the high pH and low pH detergents, but, you know, the pH scales you guys probably remember from high school chemistry class, and really just to define pH, it really just means the power of hydrogen. So, you know, those acid solutions and those alkaline solutions carry a spare hydrogen ion that kind of gives it some unstable, you know, potential power in the solution. And really what we're measuring is, you know, 0 to 14, where it kind of stands on the scale. As if you guys remember, you know, 7 is kind of your neutral point, and the cleaning ranges in car washing, on the in-bay automatic side specifically, we're sitting in that 12 pH to 13 pH range, which is pretty high. And then on the low side, we're going to be sitting, between 2 and 1.5 is kind of the range on the acid side that we like to be at to get a, as near perfect car as we possibly can. But a lot of people don't really understand what the pH scale really means, and I kind of define the definition of it. But if you're trying to take a solution and move it from 7 to 8 and make it a little bit more high pH, you may only need 1 drop of alkaline solution to do so to get to 7 to 8. It's not a linear scale. So to go from 8 to 9, you actually need 10 times that amount of solution to go up another point. So when you get into those ranges that we're talking about for car washing, in that 11, 12, in that very high range, you could make a small difference on the pH scale, but it could be a very costly difference if you're not really dialing in how much you're actually using. You could change 1 tip, it may double your cost, and you may only move up a fraction of a point. So once you get further away from the 7 point, you really need to be very careful and understand, and actually hopefully this will encourage you guys to utilize a pH meter at your wash to really troubleshoot problems and get excited about what's going on, what you're buying, what's in that solution, what is the real activity of the solution that I'm putting on cars, taking samples and putting in some quality control aspect to what you guys do on a day-to-day basis. So hopefully that kind of gives you guys a very good general understanding of what we look at from cleaning power and balance and things on the in-bay side, and touched on the self-serve side a little bit.